I'm Jeff Marks. I'm a lawyer in town. I've lived here all my life. I'm married to Penny. We have two wonderful kids, Sherry and Fred.
And you are Mrs. Hernandez's cousin.
And I am the first cousin to Andrea Hernandez, the best teacher at the JJC.
Shh, you can't say that. Oh, yeah, and you're related to Mrs. Goldberg.
And Carol Goldberg is my daughter's mother-in-law. We love Carol very much. She's part of our family.
Mrs. Goldberg.
Mrs. Goldberg.
Okay, so I heard that several years ago you were a torch runner in the Olympics. Can you tell us what Olympics?
Yes, it was the 1996 Olympics that took place in Atlanta. And in addition to being honored with carrying the torch, we actually got to go to the Olympics that year and had such a good time.
Was that because you were the torch runner that you got to go to the Olympics?
No, it's because I paid money for the tickets. I got to go to the Olympics.
And how did you get selected to be a torch carrier?
Jacksonville said they wanted to allow people to carry the torch who had done a lot of work in the community. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was a runner. It had to do with community involvement.
Did you run with the torch or walk with it?
Well, I ran. We only got to go about a half a mile each, so I ran really slowly. And the neat part was that, we got to keep the torch, and what we passed was the flame. So we would light the next torch. And the person who I lit was one of Penny's students. Penny taught with her mother. She was a real good high school runner and a real fine young lady.
Wow. So you kept your torch.
We got to purchase the torch. Of course, immediately when we finished, the very next step after finishing, they put out the flame and they emptied the canister so there was no more fluid in there so we couldn't relight it.
How did you feel when you were first asked or told that you were going to be a torch carrier?
Really, really proud. It was one of the happiest days of my life.
And how did you feel when you were actually carrying the torch?
I was so full of adrenaline. Really, in the couple of months right before that, my knee was hurting and it was hard to run. But I started to run, and a friend of mine made me a pipe that was about the weight of a torch so I could get used to running with the torch. At that part, we didn't know if we were going to run a long distance or a short distance. So if you were out on San Jose Boulevard sometimes, you might have seen me running with this pipe in my hand in the weeks before.
And do you remember where you ran with the torch?
I actually ran in St. Augustine. I remember exactly where it was. It was right near the St. Augustine Amphitheater. And I had a whole bunch of friends there. Some ran along the side and took pictures, and then we all went out to dinner afterwards. It was a lot of fun.
That is so neat. Would you show us your torch? May we see it?
Come and look.
And this is where the torch, he's moving it.
Okay.
It's in a case.
So here's what's neat about this
Wow.
torch. It's made out of Georgia peachwood because the Olympics were in Atlanta, Georgia. Each Olympic city has their own design for a torch. And if you look down there, there's the name of every city and the year that ever hosted an Olympics. It goes all the way around.
It's not coming out on the
No, you can't see it, but there's writing there. And then
want
at
them
the
to
top,
see you carrying,
you see it
holding
says
it.
1996. Can you see the top?
Mm-hmm.
And it has the Olympic torch and then the Atlanta symbol. And that is where the fire came out from there.
Now, when the Olympics come and they do the torch ceremony, do you watch it differently now that you've actually been part of that?
Yes, I watch it very carefully. I would love it to come through this town again, but it's not likely to be for a long time because it goes literally all over the world, and they carry it by boat across the ocean.
It's amazing.
And that's where you hold it kind of in between there on that Georgia peachwood.
Okay, so I'm filming again. Okay, what I wanted to tell you is our second grade class is going to be sharing this video and sharing a lot of Olympic events with a class that is in Vancouver. And one of the little girls in that class is going to be a torch runner. So I wanted to know if from one torch runner to another, if you had a few words for her.
I do. I hope that she runs really slowly so that she can enjoy every moment of it, and that she looks around and sees all the people clapping and how happy everybody is. And then I hope she gets to go to some of the Olympics. I have a brother that lives in Vancouver, and it's not a lot of family there, so they're going to get to see some of the Olympics.
Will any of them be torch carriers?
No, I wish they were, but they're not.
Okay, did you have anything else about the Olympics or from the Olympics to share with us?
I have a couple of things I'll show you.
Okay.
You know, this was a symbol of the torch, and we got one of those.
And that was also from Atlanta?
It was given to us here as part of the torch relay. And I've got stuff in the other room.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most fun things we did in Atlanta at the Olympics is we traded Olympic pins. Each one of these pins we bought or traded for somebody. So you can see some are individual sports that they have, and some are what they call corporate pins, like Coca-Cola has some, and IBM has some, and even Bud Light has some. And then there was a pin for each day of the Olympics that we were there. And then there were Olympic pins from other Olympics, and people bring them and you trade them. So if I happen to have two of this one, which was an equestrian one, I would trade one for a pin of a different event that I didn't have. And we got to meet people all over the world doing that.
And people gave these out, or you bought these?
Well, you could buy some and you could get some free. We learned that the Texaco gas station, for example, gave you some every time you bought gas. And they had a Texaco one. And Visa had one they gave out free. But some we bought and some we traded.
Thank you so much.
We mounted them.
It looks great.
Okay.